Good morning, Howard here from Cycle Van. We're going to be doing a video on the Ford Transit rear bumper step for our FordVanWorld.com website. So you have a Ford Transit and you need a little extra step to get into the back. The Ford Transit comes with a standard rear plastic bumper, and they also have another style that comes out a little farther with a little notch in it. This step will fit either model, and when you open the box, this is what you get in the box. So here's the main galvanized steel step with the rubber ends, the large brackets that go right up to the underside of the frame in the back, these horizontal brackets that bolt to that and hold this up. I wanted to point out on this display in front of you is the different hardware that you get, and you've got to pay attention to a couple of things. First of all, enclosed in the package are two bolts. These are thread forming bolts that go into holes underneath that have no threads. We painted these red because there's a special location where these go, and we're going to show you that in a minute. And these plates slide up inside the frame in the back, and then these bolts go into these plates. But these bolts are metric. The rest of the bolts in the kit aren't. They're distinguished by the 8.8 designation on the bolt head. Not only that, but when we ship it to you, they'll be pre-threaded into these plates, so you know where they go. We got galvanized hardware that bolts the main plank, if you will, to the rest of the brackets, and galvanized washers and nuts too. So we're going to go ahead with this installation straight away. So the hole that the red painted bolt is going to go in is this forward hole on this bumper bracket. You got this oval hole here, and then you got a hole here, and then you got a forward hole. This is the hole we're interested in. If you look inside, I got a flashlight, there's no threads in this metal sleeve. That's where this thread forming bolt comes in. So we're going to take a 15mm socket on a ratchet wrench. You could even do it with an impact gun, and you're going to thread that in. And just thread it all the way in. And you'll feel it's got a little bit of resistance, but that's forming the threads necessary to hold up the bracket. These bolts are made specifically for this application. And you can see the threads are being formed by this special bolt. All right, so we ran this red-headed bolt into this forward hole just to get some threads started. We did that already. And we're going to install this big heavy plate, but before we do, we got one other hole to deal with. That's this oblong hole back here. So we have this plate with the little snake rod on it, and you're going to shove it right into this slot back here, and you'll see that the threaded hole appears right in there. Now, we take this heavy bracket. We're going to put the bracket on so that the vertical part is inboard. Okay, this is going to face toward the center of the Transit. All right, so we got a pre-threaded hole for the red bolt, and we're going to put that up with a couple of threads, and then here we're going to locate, actually let me run this up a little bit. I'm going to run this up with the impact gun. If you don't have one, you can do it by hand. Okay. Okay, a little bit of movement. Okay. And a bolt with the 8.8 is going to go into that threaded plate. All right, so we got both brackets on. They're not jacked down tight. They're kind of finger tight, so we got a little bit of movement. And we got this little rod sticking out the back that we use to snake that plate in. All you do with this rod is you just bend it out of the way. You could even cut it. You just want to make sure that it's not going to rattle. So anyway, that's where you're at. So these are going to move around a little bit, and then we're going to proceed. All right, so we got the main brackets up and in place. They're not tight. We can still move them around a little bit. And we're going to mount the horizontal bars that the bumper step will rest upon. Now, you notice there's two sets of holes on here. The reason why we did that is because the bulkier rear step from Ford requires this to come out to the further set of holes. And since this one has the standard, it's going to go into that set of holes. So if you look at your the bolts that you get some small diameter washers and some larger diameter washers. The smaller diameter washers are going to go inside here. So that said, we put the bolt in here. We're choosing the correct hole. Put the smaller washer and the lock nut. If you pull on this, it kind of holds it into place. And then we take the second one and do the same. And we do the same thing to the other side. So this horizontal bar goes to the inside of this main bar. So I threaded these 1/2-inch bolts with the lock nuts not quite tight. There's some movement here. But really what you want to do is to make this, snug this, but don't finish tighten them, but snug this so that they're even at the bottom. Not like that, but even at the bottom. And you could always loosen this and change the attitude of the step when you're done, if you have to a little bit. But if you had started off like we did on this side, nice and even, that would be a good starting point. So we got the brackets in place. There's still some movement, which is what we want. We want the ability to set this on here and get everything centered. And then we're going to drop this plank onto the horizontal bars, like so. And we're going to measure from the inside of this rubber end cap 10 inches over. And we're going to have the set of holes peeking through these little diamond-shaped holes. So we're at 9, we got to move it over 1. At 10 there. And we're at 10 here. Then, this is called a diamond washer. You can put the bolt through it. It's got the little square shoulder carriage bolt. And they're going to drop through like that. We're going to put a galvanized flat washer, lock, washer, and nut from underneath on all 4 of these. All right, so we got the plank set on the horizontal bars, and we drop the diamond washers with the carriage bolts through the holes, and we put the lock washer with the flat washer and the nut. Now we can tighten these up. These are ready to go. We can still make adjustments elsewhere. We're going to tighten these up. So we've just tightened down the galvanized 1/2-inch carriage bolts and the diamond washers. They're nice and snug. I don't have any play, but I still need to tighten these main bolts from underneath. And I'm going to do that while adjusting for appearance and levelness and all that. All right, so we got the step on. Everything's tight going up into the truck's frame. The carriage bolts holding the main plank to the horizontal bars are all tight. We did that before. Now, the last thing we want to do is make sure that the horizontal bolts that are attached to the main bracket, these are snug. So before we do that, we eyeball the step and how it looks on the truck. We look at the gap here, we look at the gap there, we take a look straight down, and straight down we look good, up and down we look pretty good. I'm going to make a micro adjustment on this side and bring this up so it's perfectly level, and then once I'm done with that, I'm going to finish tightening and then we're going to have a completed installation. Okay, so here we go. We got a nice strong step, level, looks good, from all angles, and it's given us a good few inches of step drop down from the factory original. One thing I want to make sure you know is that some of these bumpers come with reverse sensors on them. This step is not going to work with those trucks, unfortunately. What will happen is that these reverse sensors will see this here, and it'll just cause an alarm to take place every time the truck is in reverse. So this rear step is for vehicles that do not have that reverse sensor. Okay, so here's our completed rear bumper step on the Ford Transit. My name is Howard. I'm from Cycle Van. Our Ford Van website is fordvanworld.com. We got all kinds of accessories for the Transit, new ones coming out all the time. This particular Transit, we installed the windows in. It came as a plain cargo van. We've got the venting windows on this particular model. We got factory style glass as well. This van's going to be used as a recreational vehicle, and we got running boards in 3 different styles for the Transit as well. Again, visit us please at fordvanworld.com.